in here as well. So just give me some hearts there. Shoot me up some hearts so that I know I'm not talking to myself. But I do see that there are a few people here, so it looks like I'm on track. I'm definitely on track here. All right, so yeah, I want to thank you for being here. And I just want to start by acknowledging you for everything you did to get yourself here today, and every day that you're going to show up. So there's a saying that goes, 80% of success is just showing up. So, I can't reach you from here. So give yourself a pat on the back. And oh yeah, okay. So I see some people are here saying, yeah, I see. And it's interesting because when you're doing, live stuff, okay. I am in the front row. Okay. Somebody sent me a heart. Okay. So you can see me. So you're here with me. All right. Awesome. So yeah, so you showed up today. So give yourself a pat on the back for showing up, because look, you could have been anywhere else today. You could have been doing all sorts of things, but you showed up here. So I just want to thank you and say congratulations. You have made one of the best decisions that you'll ever make for the success of your business, for your success, by being here today and every day in this series. So I just imagine it's okay for me to tell you a little bit about myself before we dive into this, because like I said, I know some of you, but there are a lot of new people here in our Women Playing Bigger in Business group that are new. So I'm going to just tell you a little bit about myself, so that you can get to know me a little bit better. So I want to start off by saying, look, sisters, life is good. I get to do what I love. I get to help women entrepreneurs and leaders who are struggling with overwhelm and fear and self-doubt and feeling scattered and unclear. And I get to help them gain self-mastery so that they can have the impact, the influence, and the power necessary to create, grow, and scale their businesses beyond what they ever believed was possible. So I love what I do. And so often, because of how I show up, because of the work that I do, people are often looking at me to be the expert in the room, right? That is, one of the reasons that you're here with me today, expecting me to be like this expert in the room. And so it's so funny because I wasn't always like this. I wasn't always able to get on video and get on camera and get on stages and do what it is that I do. So it's I think back to my childhood, and I was raised in a commune. Yes, an intentional community, a small little group of people in South Carolina. And there I was expected to not be seen, to not be heard, and to simply do what I was told. And part of doing what I was told was also being forcibly engaged to a man who was like 30 years older than I was. And at the time I was 13. So thankfully at 14, my mom, took us kids and was like, okay, we're out of here, we're moving. So we moved to another state. And I tell you, sister, it was like being dropped off on a foreign planet. Very different from everything that I had known. I realized I was 2 years behind academically, 2 years behind the other kids my age. I had this, different name. I have tribal markings on my face. You can't see them now, but I have tribal markings on my face. My mom would show up to school functions wearing her traditional African clothes. And let me tell you, sisters, I made it a point to not be seen, to not be heard. I just wanted to hide. I didn't know, like I said, I'd been dropped on this foreign planet. And it was just like, do it, show up, figure it out. And so I did my best to hide. And then, I went off to college, and I did my best to fit in, to just kind of blend in and be like everybody else. Ultimately, I ended up getting married and having two amazing, amazing kids. But in that, I lost myself completely. And it wasn't until, to my surprise, I found myself in divorce court, right? Peace, and after that, you know, going through this divorce, trying to piecemeal a career together, you know, after 10 years of, you know, being a homemaker and just having some side gigs on the side. I had two kids looking at me with distress and worry in their eyes. It was heartbreaking. But I will tell you this. It was during that time, going through that whole just upheaval in my life. You know, my life had completely crumbled. It was going through that it came to my awareness that I had been hiding for so many years. I had been giving away my power, letting people take it from me. I believed that I didn't have any power. And so I played small for many, many years in my life. Thankfully, that turned out to be a blessing because it awakened me, right? I came to realize, to know that I have power, that I can trust my power, and I can also create and lead from it. So sisters, let me tell you, when I realized this, oh my gosh, you mean I have power and I can use it? That's when it was on. It was on. I changed my whole mindset system. I changed my behaviors, and ultimately I started getting the results that I actually wanted in my life. And so today I get to help other business women overcome like 80% of the stuff that gets in the way of them being able to grow their business and generate revenue. So I get to help them to, you know, stop waiting for other people and things to change and give themselves permission to take the reins in their lives and their businesses. I help them to shake off that self-doubt and internal resistance, and have them to, you know, help them to let go of feeling guilty or selfish for being ambitious and start taking bold action that gets them those next level results that they want. They stop being sidetracked by, you know, those things that, you know, we think are important, but they're really not important to our business growth. They're really not important to the goals that we have for ourselves, you know, and so they're able to start creating fresh forward motion. They stop wishing and hoping and praying that things work out, you know what I mean? And instead they start moving forward boldly and confidently into the businesswoman that they were created to be. And lastly, you know, the other thing that I love that I get to support women to do is to stop the cycle of playing small or waiting to be like recognized for contributions. And instead they start owning their worth, demonstrating their worth, right? And ensuring that people know about the value that they bring and what they're here, the difference that they're here to make in the world. So, you know, that's what I get to help women do. So that's why I said life is good. All right. So give me some hearts if you are like feeling this, if you're like, yes, I'm wanting some of this. I'm ready to stop, you know, wishing, hoping, and, you know, waiting for things to change and really start like really standing into your power, claiming it, and moving forward. All right. Okay. So that's enough about me. That's enough about me. Let's talk about you, sister. So I have set some powerful intentions for you today. We're going to talk about, you know, 3 mistakes that can lead to imposter syndrome, that can lead to fear and self-doubt, that can get in the way of us growing our businesses and taking bold action. We are going to talk about ways that you can begin to move past that imposter syndrome. And I'm going to talk about the number one thing that is required to stop that fear and self-doubt in its tracks. All right, sister? So are we ready? Are we ready? Give me some hearts. Give me some shout outs if you are ready. Yes. All right, so first I want to just start by getting on the same page. Make sure that we are all on the same page with what imposter syndrome is. What is it, right? So it is that persistent feeling of being a fraud, right? Afraid that we're going to be found out. This belief that we are lacking skills or competencies to be successful in a project, to deliver, what we have promised to customers or clients, despite external recognition and evidence of the good that you have produced, of the results that you have created for your clients and in your business, right? So it's like this, it's like, imposter syndrome, like we don't accept or internalize our successes, right? And so that's not for everybody. Maybe that's not for you right now, but it shows up in ambitious women. All right. So some of them can accept or internalize their success. They're like, God, maybe I got lucky. Maybe somebody made a mistake, or, oh gosh, I'm not good enough to do this. People are going to find out and I'm going to look like an idiot. I'm going to look horrible. People are going to lose faith in what I can deliver. So it is being in that place. All right. Even though, like I said, there's all this evidence in the results that you've created in your business and for your clients that says the contrary, that you are amazing, that you bring excellent results to your clients. You give good, you give good results. All right. So I want to start off, I'm going to jump into these mistakes, right? So, and when I say mistake, it's just an error. It's just, maybe we missed a mark in some way. Maybe we've taken a wrong turn and, we didn't really realize it. So the first mistake is that a lot of women entrepreneurs aren't aware that there is a desire-fear dynamic playing out every day if we are stepping into something, some audacious goal. All right, sister? So they're not aware of this desire-fear dynamic. So listen up, as human beings, we are in this constant push and pull relationship with ourselves. We want to have more, we want to do more, we want to be more, yet we want to feel safe and secure. We want to feel comfortable. So for example, there's some business women who want to increase their visibility. Maybe they want to write a book or, speak from the stage or, offer videos or whatever, increasing your visibility looks like. They want to increase their visibility, but they're afraid of criticism and judgment. Or maybe they're afraid, well, gosh, I don't have anything new to say. Or they want to offer a new product or service, but then they're worried about the effort that that's going to take. Or they want flexible schedules, but they have really poor boundaries with clients. Or maybe some of them they want to get a business loan, but then they're worried, gosh, can I pay it back? Maybe you want to hire an assistant or, a new team member. But then the fear is, but what if they don't do things the way I want them to do? Or what if after a while I can't even afford them? Some want to increase their revenue, but then they worry that, they're going to lose clients if they raise their fees. Or they want to reach more people, but then they're afraid that it might spiral out of control to a size that they can't control it, and it's just going to take out their lives, right? Take over their lives. So this is a desire-fear dynamic that is playing out with us when we are building our businesses, right? So we want this thing, right? We have this goal we want to obtain. We have this intention, but then, oh my gosh, what if this bad thing goes wrong? What if this awful thing happens, right? So that is consistently playing out. So, if anything of what I said resonates with you, give me some hearts, let me know what's resonating for you. And I'll be checking it out as I'm going through here. It's interesting because with when I'm using this platform, I have to look over at the Facebook page to look at the comments. So if you got comments there, yeah, somebody says, oh yeah, imposter was on for me yesterday. And yes, I'm an ambitious woman. Yeah, it shows up for us, I'm telling you. And you know why it shows up? Because it is connected to, well, let's look at it like this from an evolutionary perspective, right? It was necessary for us to be a little afraid about stepping outside of our hut or stepping outside of the cage. The cave. We might fear that the lions, tigers, and bears are going to eat us. So, we knew we wanted to explore more as human beings. We needed to go out and forage for food. But, there's that part of our brain that shows up that says, hey, somebody might just kill you if you walk outside. You're going to be eaten if you walk outside of this cave, right? So it's just part of being human. It is that, the desire to expand our businesses, the desire to expand our lives, right? But then it is that fear of, oh, what if something goes wrong, right? So, it's a part of being human, sisters. And that's why I'm bringing it up here. And, so when you're in this place of growing your business, you're wanting to lead, you have this desire to be bigger, bolder, better, right? It's going to wake up, the scary lions, tigers, and bears. All right. So as entrepreneurs, as Alina said, she felt it yesterday and she's ambitious. As entrepreneurs, we are constantly being pushed and pulled into greater possibility, into creativity. We are being called to step forward in a way we haven't stepped forward in before, right? And so it's going to show up. So I want to tell you about a client I worked with who came to me. She was like desperately wanting to get her message out into the world through a movie that she had filmed. She really knew that this film was going to make a difference in the lives of women. And so the movie was nearly complete. But she wasn't doing that like that last, like I would say 10 to 15% of what needed to be done to actually get it out, right? She just wasn't doing it. And when she came to me, she had all these reasons that made sense to her about why, now wasn't the time, or, what was getting in the way. And so through our work together, we got to the nitty gritty of what was going on. And it was the fear. It was that desire to fear dynamic playing out. She was afraid of the criticism. She was also afraid of, well, what if this fails? And she was afraid of what if it succeeds? And if it succeeds, she had this whole story about what that might mean for her life, for her family. And so without her even realizing, she was getting in her own way. And so through our work together, she had a huge awakening. She had a huge shift that helped her to get out of her own way. And so she ended up submitting her film to a festival. And guess what? The sister got in. So, there are all these interesting ways that without us realizing it, we can get in our own way. We can sabotage. We can put things off for weeks and months and years because of this inner resistance. All right. So imposter syndrome does not show up when you are playing small. It does not show up when you are inside your comfort zone, sisters. But if you're striving to get better, to build your business, to start your business, to scale it to a whole nother level that you have never even, been at before, then this dynamic is going to play out within you. All right. And, some people will say, gosh, well, if I'm scared, then clearly that means that, I shouldn't be doing this. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, so they have this belief that if they're good at something, then they shouldn't be afraid. And that's not true. That's definitely not true. Possibility, creativity, innovation, growth, there's gonna be some, some shaky knees in there, some teeth chattering in there, sister, all right? So I want you to identify what is one desire, one audacious goal or intention that you have either had in the past or you have now, and what is the fear story that has come up? What's the fear story that has been playing out, whether it was in the past or maybe it's here now? So identify what that is and put that in the comments so we can take a look at some of those. Someone said, one of my coaches said, once told me that if you don't feel like giving up once a month, you're not playing big enough. Yes, that's so, so true. Yeah, I've had people say, oh, I had someone tell me the other day, oh, I don't suffer from imposter syndrome. That's not one of my things. And I was like, well, then that means that, yeah, of course I didn't say this, but I'm thinking, well, okay, so that means that you're hanging out in your comfort zone. Really? So, okay, good. But are you ready to grow? Are you ready to scale your business? So yeah, so let me know, identify what's one of your desires or intention or an audacious goal that you have had or have, and what is the fear story that's running right alongside of it, right? So here's my offer to you about this particular mistake, really. It's simply to be aware that it's part of the journey to success, right? It's part of the process of creativity, right? So when we know that it's going to show up, right, then we can plan for it to show up. We can be aware that it's going to show up, right? And so then we don't allow it to stop our train. We stay on our track, we stay on our journey, and we see the fear and we're like, oh yeah, I see you hanging out over there, but I'm not going to let you get in my way. I'm not going to have me second guessing and doubting every move and every decision that I make, right? So this is really an offer to just bring into your awareness that it shows up, but don't build a house, in the valley of fear, right? Don't buy a condo in a valley of fear. Move through it, sister, all right? So I want to move on to number 2. The second thing that shows up when that we can do that sets us up for imposter syndrome. One of the mistakes that we can make is honestly not being aware that we're having an imposter experience, right? So an imposter experience looks like procrastinating, overly focused on what other people might think, perfectionism, comparisonitis, overanalyzing, not delegating, needing help, not asking for it, maybe collecting opinions, right? Or needing to know everything before you get started on something. So when we aren't aware or present or noticing that we are actually in an imposter experience, right? Then that's when we're setting ourselves up for imposter syndrome, all right? And when we're in that imposter syndrome, we can be extremely critical and about ourselves, judgmental of ourselves and other people, right? We end up with a whole lot of anxiety and stress, and we end up overcompensating in some way for, and maybe that overcompensation might be, like I said, getting stuck collecting opinions or spending way too much time in research, oh, I'm researching this. I've been researching this for 6 months. And so that is, so if we're not aware and present to when we're in an imposter syndrome, that's when we set ourselves up, right? Or rather, when we're not aware we're in an imposter experience, then we set ourselves up for getting stuck. So when we are aware, right? So why is it that we need to become aware? We need to become aware because when we know that we're having one, when we're having an imposter experience, we can interrupt it, right? We can say, oh, I'm in that. Oh, I'm in an experience. Okay, so what am I believing? What's the story I'm telling myself? And when you can interrupt the experience, you can then shift out of it. All right. So super, super important to know that when, know what your experiences are, right? So I'm curious to know, like, how does resistance show up for you, right? How does it show up for you? All right. Maybe it shows up like some of the examples that I had. It shows up by, getting stuck in research or, having to, or feeling like everything needs to be perfect. Or you're overly focused on what other people might think, right? Or you're procrastinating, you're just putting it off. I know for me, one of the things that I will do is when I'm stuck in it is I will I'm the researcher. Oh, let me go and find out more information here. And, sometimes it doesn't even help make whatever I'm working on any better. Sometimes I can cycle on a paragraph, but because, I've identified and I'm aware of my, what my thing is that I do, I don't stay in it long, right? Where maybe in the past, years ago, I was, I'd stay weeks researching stuff, right? And now it might just be a couple hours. And then and even in those couple hours, I'm like, what you doing, Akanke? Oh, yeah. I'm in an experience. Okay, I need to interrupt it and I need to do my work to shift out of it. All right, sisters. So I'm just curious, like, how does resistance show up for you? And you can go ahead and put that in the comments. So I want to tell you a little clients. Someone said research. Yeah, someone says their fear story is what I have to share who I am being is not going to be blank enough for others. Not good enough, not kind enough, not vulnerable enough. It's so true. Alina and Katie and Davina, I feel you, sisters. I feel you. Yeah. So we all have them. And that's one of the great things to know, especially being in a community like this. Especially being surrounded by others who get, the entrepreneurial experience, is that you realize that you're not alone, that you're not the only one going through this. Okay, sisters. So, so I had a client who wanted to offer a new service, and she was in this program and in this program. Oh, I need to get this other certification to do this. Oh, I need to, purchase this new, system, whatever it was. And so essentially what she was doing was she wasn't executing. That's what I want to say. So she was doing this for years. Let me try this program. Let me try this program. And so what she was doing, she just kept consuming, right, more information, but she wasn't executing. She wasn't implementing any of it. So this was for years. So finally, when we started working together, she had this amazing service that she was ready to offer, and it was beautiful. All these amazing pieces to it. I mean, it was like really, really valuable. And so really, while we're working together, she came to realize, oh, I've been stuck I've been overanalyzing this. I've been thinking, oh, I just need that one other thing over there to make this, and then I'm ready, right? Oh, I just need to learn this other little thing, and then I'll be ready. So she was stuck in this, perfectionism cycle. Oh, let me see what other people are doing, right? This person said I should be doing this. Let me see what they're doing. She was stuck comparing herself to what other people in her field were doing. And so, our work really was around getting her, out of that, out of the mindsets and out of the behaviors and the actions that were keeping her from implementing, right? it was so important for her to, for us to just say, okay, sister, you've been doing all this stuff for a long time, and now it's time to put it out there. Now it's time to execute. And so now her product is out there in the world, and she's making 6 figures. So imagine how many years she was out there collecting data, trying this little thing. Oh, let me try this system over here or this. And she could have been making this money for years. Thankfully, now she's making it. And so moving forward. So, sisters, when we aren't aware that we're in an imposter syndrome, when we're not aware we're having an imposter experience, then we're setting ourselves up for imposter syndrome. Then we're getting in our own way. Then we're spending years cycling on something, trying this and that, and we're not making the money that we want to be making in our business. We're not growing our businesses. All right. So the practice I want to invite you into is to begin noticing, right? So make it a practice to pay attention to your go-to behavior, right? To your go-to behavior that shows up when you're feeling scared or uncertain, or you're stepping out on a limb or stepping out of what's been comfortable for you for a long time. Pay attention to what is your go-to thing, right? Because when you can find yourself in it, notice that you're in it, then you can disrupt it and then shift out of it. All right, sisters? So that is crucial to us moving forward in our businesses, to us generating the income that we want, to us, generating the leads that we want, growing our list, putting new products out there on the market. Super, super important to know what is the thing that you have been not even realizing that you do that's getting in your way. And so this final mistake I want to talk about has to do with, let me look over here and see what someone just says. Yep, perfectionism makes me super good at creating shit that nobody knows about. Yes. And then somebody says, what is your advice for stay-at-home moms with small children? Wow. When I started my business, my children were small. And I would say it depends on your situation. It really depends on your situation. And if you want, I can give you some definite pointers, but I would need to know more information. So you can send me a direct message and I'll talk to you directly about that. Because we have these kids who want our attention and, can often disrupt us when we get in our flow and then one of them jumps in. So so send me a direct message and I'll talk with you about that. And then Tendai says, I call a friend and spend an hour or so on the phone. Yes. Okay, so the other way that we can get in our own way as ambitious women entrepreneurs is by doing the same thing, yet expecting a different outcome. Yep. So some of us have, we call this insanity. You've probably heard that before, but that's not what I mean in this case. Here's what I mean. When I say you're doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. We do the same things because we're good at it. We're good at being a certain way or, doing something in a way that has gotten us good results, right? Or maybe we've gotten some really great feedback from people in our circles. Or we become complacent, right? We become complacent. By doing the same things, we set the stage for imposter syndrome, right? Because we create this gap. Right? And so ways that we create the gap is, let's say if you have been playing it safe for a long time, You spend weeks and months trying to decide on one thing, right? And that has probably worked in the past a little bit, right? Because maybe you feel like you made, oh, this was the best decision. But let me tell you, sister, when you are playing bigger, risk tolerance is going to have to be increased, right? So let's say if you have been a really great technician, you have this amazing skill, you know how to do this thing, and so you focus in on what that particular skill set is or what that particular service is, and you're like, oh, I'm good at this. But it is not what's going to take you to your next level, sister. All right? Or maybe you have been in control of every element in your business, and that has gotten you to a certain level of success. But in order to move your business into the next phase of growth, you may have to let go of being in control of every element. What worked back in the day is not going to move you into this next phase, right? Maybe for some women entrepreneurs, you know, they will, I want to say, they have these relationships, these friendships. I go to a lot of networking events, and so I meet a lot of people there. But some people are just meeting people to be meeting people, to be kind. I get you want to be kind. You know, having coffee meetups or, you know, conversations, but they're not really leveraging those relationships, right? They're collecting friendships and saying, oh, I know this person. Oh, I know this person. Oh, let's chat. And that's gotten them to a certain level, let's say, of success in their business, but they're not really leveraging relationships. And leveraging relationships is really about looking at how can we support each other, right? How, you know, who do you know? What do you know that can support me? And here is what I have and what I know that can support you. Like really being in that place, right? Another example that comes up a lot for business women is this, oh, I've done this alone for so many years. You know, they're the lone wolf. Oh, I don't need to ask for help. I can just do it all by myself. Well, sister, that may have worked to get you to a certain revenue, a place of revenue. But if you're ready to step it up and add another 0 or 2 onto, you know, your business revenue, then this idea of going it alone and being this lone wolf, you know, trying to do it all by yourself isn't going to work anymore. So this is what I'm talking about when I say, you know, that the way that we can get in our own way is by doing the same thing, but expecting a different outcome, sister. All right. So I want you to take a moment and bring to mind, so what is one thing that you have been doing that, okay, it kind of helped you, it got you to a certain point, but now you're going to have to step your game up. You may even have to stop doing it altogether, right? So identify what that is. So I thought of some examples, right? Somebody says, true, staying the same is easy and safe, but I'm getting bored. Yeah. So if you're getting bored, then that is a sign, sister, that it's time to step it up. It's time to step it up. Whatever stepping it up looks like for you and your business. So examples that may resonate with you around, you know, things that need to shift. So let's say that you are like this big picture thinker and you're like, oh yeah, I can do all this. I can envision this amazing, this business where, you know, I have this, I'm speaking on this major platform, but yet you're not giving attention to the little details, the little nitty gritty stuff that is going to get you to where you want, right? Or maybe it is the reverse. You know, sometimes we can get stuck in a nitty gritty that we can't see the bigger picture, right? That saying, you can't see the forest for the trees, you know? So another way a behavior that we may have that has to shift is collecting opinions. Collecting opinions from people who have no business giving you an opinion about your business. That don't know, right? Maybe, they can't hold space for the possibility that you want to create, right? That you want to step into. And also collecting opinions will have us like looking at, well, this person said XYZ, another one said ABC. And so now you have like 15 different opinions and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't even know, right? So maybe it's time to stop collecting opinions from so many people and really laser in on who it is, who those designated people are that you will consider their opinions, right? And this idea of, saying yes when we really want to say no, when we need to say no, right? Maybe it's time to stop, what I used to call it being addicted to saying yes. Maybe it's time to stop that and to start getting in this place where you're more discerning around what it is that you're saying yes to, okay? But that's a huge one right there. Shifting out of this, I want to say yes to everything. And now it may be time to realize, you know what, that might be getting in my way. Or you could be on the opposite end where you are, your go-to is like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to try that. I've been doing this for so long. And now it's time for you to start opening up to possibility, opening up to opportunities. I remember talking with this entrepreneur. She's in the healing industry, and I was asking her about considering carrying some products in her in what she offers. And her comment was, no, I've never done that before. I've just been offering this service and my clients expect this from me, right? So for her, that's her business is only going to go so far, right? And not that she needs to add products, but if she's staying in this place of, this is what I've always done for my people, then, if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to keep getting what you've always gotten, right? And so if you're ready to up level, to move into that next phase of growth, then some things are going to have to shift. All right. So I'm wondering, what is it that it's time to shift? And maybe it's some of what I said, or maybe you have something else for you. Someone says, my creativity and knowledge is growing. Yes. And someone says, I can work on, this is Davina. Davina's on here today. She says, I can work on that leveraging more for sure, leveraging relationships and asking for help. Yeah, she's like, I'm so glad I'm here and took this step. I'm glad you're here too. Someone, she says, my packaging. Okay. Listen, sister. And this is why I'm wanting to highlight these mistakes that we don't even realize that we're making. And that is because we are in the midst of rapidly changing technology and customers and services and products and tools and environments. So doing the same thing, not being aware we're in an imposter syndrome, not being aware of the fear, the desire to fear dynamic is how we can get in our way, is how we can set the stage for imposter syndrome, all right? So you want to start up-leveling your mindset, sister, right? And you want to up-level your go-to ways of functioning, right? So if you're stuck doing things a certain way, it's time to start up-leveling that thinking, all right? Start shifting your behaviors, okay? All right, so now we know that whenever we grow, whenever we step into possibility, creativity, innovation, we invite in the imposter syndrome because of that tension that's created by that desire and fear dynamic of wanting something more and then having to grow into it. We also know now that when we aren't aware or present or noticing where we are in our process, in our creation process, then we're setting ourselves up for imposter syndrome. And lastly, we know that when we do the same things we've always done, either because we're good at it or we've gotten good feedback, or we've become complacent, that we create a gap that sets the stage for imposter syndrome. All right. So these are typical, they're common, they're a part of the process, they're a part of the process of business growth. And there's a way to overcome these. So I've created a framework that addresses all of these, and I call it the self-mastery framework. So self-mastery means having authority over your mindsets, your behaviors, your outcomes. It's having the capacity to overcome fear, self-doubt, confusion, internal, inner resistance. And self-mastery provides clarity, decisiveness, momentum, and confidence so that we can start, getting more leads, growing our list, speaking to a bigger audience, having a greater impact, right? Getting more clients and customers and sales. So this self-mastery framework, right? When we're wanting to get ourselves out there, right? Then we want to start mastering ourselves, right? So remember I talked about the businesswoman wanted to get her movie out, right, into the world. And then the client who spent months, years rather, analyzing and planning instead of implementing, right? So I took them through my self-mastery framework, which helped them to really take their business up to a whole nother way of playing. They are playing big now. All right, sisters? So the first step to self-mastery, right, is that we take a self-mastery assessment. All right. So the self-mastery assessment, we're going to look at that right now. I'm going to share my screen with you with the self-mastery assessment. Here we go. And make sure that, okay, here we go. So this is my self-mastery assessment. And today we're going to look at it as it relates to imposter syndrome. We can look at self-mastery on different, as it relates to different areas. But today we're going to look at how as it relates to imposter syndrome. So there are 5 levels of self-mastery, right? And so with this assessment, we rate where you are, right? And each level, at each level, you are consistently showing up in a particular way, right? So level 1, let's look at the area of power, right? So the imposter syndrome would be order taking, right? Versus self-mastery, which is command, right? And so when we look at, and then another one that shows up a lot, all of these show up a lot with imposter syndrome, time and attention. In the time and attention area, the imposter syndrome is overwhelmed, right? And then we get to that place of capacity, right? So an example would be, let's say when it comes to order taking, you are in that level 1, right? And level 1 is like you're finding fault in others and other situations. Why me? Why does this keep happening to me? Right? And this is like consistently. Level 2, we're looking at, we're auditing. So where are you order taking in your life? Is it with clients? Are clients dictating how you run your business? Or maybe you're taking, your whole to-do list is you giving yourself order taking, right? Instead of saying, you know what, this is my business. This is how I run my business, right? And standing in that place of being a grounded leader in your business, right? This is my business. This is how I run my business. These are my boundaries. This is what I need to put in place in order for me to be successful in business. So when we look at this imposter syndrome to self-mastery assessment, we're going to be looking at the various levels. So level 1 is finding fault. Level 2 is we're observing and auditing, looking at how this shows up consistently in our businesses, in our lives. Level 3 is being in this place of recognizing and disrupting, right, whatever it is that is keeping you stuck. And then we start looking at what I call revolutionizing, right? And that's choosing to challenge the narratives. That's choosing to practice a whole nother way of showing up, new patterns, new habits, new ways of moving forward. And then there is the grounded leader. And the grounded leader, we're looking at when you get to that place of self-mastery, you are in this place where you are fully aware of what's going on. You're disrupting and challenging the stories that might be keeping you stuck. You're disrupting your behaviors and your patterns, right? You are, and then you are choosing from a place of clarity and certainty, taking action. But the thing that level 5 gets you is that you're in this place of consistently seeking new ways to disrupt, to be outside of your comfort zone in service to where your business is growing. And so with this assessment, and today we're not gonna go into in depth. I have something for you for that. But I just want you to take a look at the various imposter subdivisions here, right? So order taking, overwhelm, being busy, failing, hiding, self-criticism, underutilized relationships, being risk averse. And then when we look at self-mastery, which is where we want to be in order to grow our businesses, in order to generate the income that we want, we're going to be in this place in our lives, in our businesses, standing in this place of command. You know, knowing what our capacity is, giving value, making sure that we give results in our businesses to our clients and customers. We are being visible, we are influencing, you know, we are self-regulated and not stuck in that place of criticism and judgment. We are leveraging our relationships, and we're also seeking newer, bigger, more expanded opportunities for business growth. All right, sisters? So I just wanted to give you an idea of the self-mastery assessment as it relates to imposter syndrome and what imposter syndrome would look like, or what we're talking about, the areas that imposter syndrome would show up as looking like. And then when you get to self-mastery, how it is that you're standing in this place of grounded leadership and what those areas look like. All right. So you following me, sisters? Are you following me? And here's the thing about this assessment that I want you all to know is that no matter where you think you land, you know, let's say that, you know, you are a 1 in, you know, being busy, right? Maybe you are constantly just doing. So if you are in a level 1, you want to be looking at, okay, so what is level 2 going to look like for me? How would I need to shift? What's going to be different, right? So no matter where you are in here, maybe you're already at a level 4, right? Where you are aware, you're disrupting, you're challenging, you are choosing in a whole new way, and you're taking action on a consistent basis. That's the thing about self-mastery. It's not like this is a day-to-day thing. This is how are you showing up consistently in your business and in your leadership. So you might be in a level 2 in one category and a level 4 in another one, okay? And that's okay. This is not about judging and being critical about ourselves. It's about, okay, so this is where I'm at. What's my next level, right? So we always want to be looking at what's my next level of mastery and what does that look like for me and my business, all right? So as I said, the first step in self-mastery is to take a self-mastery assessment, right? And so what I want to offer you today is the opportunity to take this assessment with me. Imposter syndrome, it shows up consistently in ambitious entrepreneurs. And so that's why it's important for us to start looking at where are we on the self-mastery scale, right? So I want to offer you, if you're ready to really start stepping things up in your business, then I want to offer you a free intro call with me, right? In that free intro call, it's going to be 20 minutes. We're going to discuss, like, what's going on with your business? What are the challenges that you're facing right now? And in that 20 minutes, we're going to see if we're a good fit to work together. And if we are a good fit, then we're going to schedule a free self-mastery strategy session, all right? In that session, in the self-mastery strategy session, we're going to cover 3 pieces in 1 hour. We're going to look at, where is it that your business is going to next, right? Are you now creating it? Are you in this place of wanting to grow it more? Are you ready to scale? So what is the vision that you have for your business? And then we're going to look at where you are in this self-mastery assessment. We'll dive deeper into the assessment, and we're going to uncover what's getting in the way. Where is it that you're cycling and spinning that now it's time to move out of it? And what might that look like to move out of it? All right. So what's getting in the way of growing your business? And so once we know that, right? Once we know what's going on, where you want to be, what's getting in the way, then I'm going to create a customized plan on the call with you that will help you to start moving your business into its next level of growth. All right. And moving you into your next level of growth. All right. So first, we're going to start off with that intro session just to see, what's up for you and if we're going to be a good fit. And then if so, then we're going to go into the self-mastery strategy session. We'll set up a time for that. And that's an hour where we go deeper into this assessment. But I wanted to show it to you all today so you can have a better idea of what to expect. And so after the self-mastery strategy session, look, you're going to leave that call with complete clarity about your next steps and exactly what areas you need to master so that you can start, generating more leads, growing a bigger list, a bigger audience, having more impact, right? Generating more sales, generating greater revenue, growing your business, right? Whatever, growing your business looks like for you, all right? Everybody's different. So, here's the thing. I always want to tell people, look, we've all bought the programs. I have. We've taken classes. We read books. We listen to podcasts. We watch the videos, all of that. But a lot of business women still aren't succeeding in the way that they want to. And the thing is that the problem is not about learning more stuff often. The challenge isn't out there. The problem is here within us, right? And so if you're ready to really start playing full out in your business, sister, then sign up for this free 20-minute call, and then we'll take things from there, all right? So I'm going to check here, and I'm going to stop sharing my view, and I'm going to see. Alina says, love the framework. Someone says, word. So generous. Thank you for the offering. Someone says, yep, yep, yep. All right, sisters. We got lots of awesome comments here. And I'm wanting to see all of them. Oh, okay. I have to scroll. It looks like I got to scroll over here to see all the comments. Well, I don't want to keep y'all any longer, and I will address the comments in the group. I'm going to address the comments in the group. All right, sisters. So today was day 1. We hit it off with a bang with just me today. And tomorrow I'm going to be talking to another expert who's going to be amazing. So you want to be here at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every day for the next 20 days. All right. I'm going to put the link in the description here, the link for you to sign up for that 20-minute intro call. I'm going to do that within the next I'll do that in the next couple minutes so that you know. And every day, the experts are going to be giving away something special for you, having you connect with them in some new way. So when at the end of 21 days, you are going to walk away with a virtual swag bag. That's what I'm calling it, a virtual swag bag full of stuff, goodies for you to use in your business, to start taking your business to the next level. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your hearts and for showing up. And it's about to be on, y'all. We're about to move into this new year. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready. I'm ready in a big way. All right, sister, I look forward to having you engage with the group. And until next time, sisters, play big. Bye.